Oh man, so what is going on with Bitcoin? We're down 0.3%, but just an hour ago, Bitcoin was as high as 47,200. We're now sitting at 46,400. It's an ever-changing landscape. We're at that critical juncture, which I've been talking about since yesterday, and Bitcoin is now fighting. The bulls and the bears are fighting to decide where we're heading next. We're going to look at the key levels in the charts. I'm going to show you some interesting on-chain metrics, which I've managed to find. We're also going to look at Luna Foundation and what they're doing in terms of their buying. Plus, we're going to look at COTI, which is up 9% on the day. What is going on? What are the next key levels for COTI as well? All of that and more. So sit back, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. As always, videos are brought to you by my very own course member live streams. If you want to become a member of our course member live streams, which we have another one of, our next session is about in an hour and a half from me recording this video, then head over to ijaz.uk/member. You'll be able to ask me questions on your portfolio. We can critique your portfolio. We can do technical analysis on other coins, which we don't get a chance to on these videos on YouTube. But macroeconomics, my psychology, what am I doing in the market, and a whole lot more. Links in the description. Let's get straight into the chart here, because as you can see, Bitcoin has had a crazy couple of hours. These are the hourly candles. The red line indicates when we opened up today. And you can see we opened up a bit sideways, and then we had a crazy candle just 2 hours ago, running up all the way to 47,200. And then the next candle ran us all the way down to 46,300. This just goes to show how crazy volatile situation we're in right now. And the reason for that is if I just get zoomed out a little bit, you'll remember yesterday that I spoke about us being in this descending triangle. And you can see we had a fake out here, bunch of liquidations, as expected. Please do not be the people that get caught out in this. Those were overzealous eager longs getting liquidated. You can see from that candle there. And then we got thrown back to inside the pattern. Yesterday night, big pump to the upside, breaking us through. It looked like we got the breakout. Then we had some sideways consolidation. It looked like we were then ready to go. And then we've fallen back again. This is the market manipulation. This is, these are the market makers liquidating people and getting the overzealous, highly leveraged positions out of the way. Once that's out of the way, we can start deciding on which level do we want to get to. Remember, the key level from breaking this wedge is to get back to the 48,200 level mark, which is initially where we got rejected from. That's very important that we can do that and get back to this peak from here, okay? The blue line that we're looking at. Very important here on Bitcoin. Now, the downside is if we're unable to get the breakout. By the way, we're looking pretty good here. The fact that we're fighting for the breakout, we're looking for a retest, this is good. But just to show you the negative scenario as well, the negative scenario would be you get thrown back into this pattern. Do something like this and you end up breaking the pattern to the downside. Now, that doesn't look too bad in itself, but if you zoom out, you'll notice I've just switched across to the 4 hourly. What that would then mean, our larger wedge, you end up then back into this big wedge, which we work so hard to break out of. So we've got a confluence of different patterns going on right now. Really important that we win this battle on the symmetrical triangle in order to then break out and avoid us from entering this pattern here. We don't want to be back in this game because the outcomes of this game is for you to fall to the bottom of the wedge and see horrible prices again like 33, 34. I don't think that's going to happen. We're going to look at some of the on-chain metrics going to back up the decision. But from a technical perspective, we want to see us break to the upside and we want to see us start heading back towards 48,200. And then our price target of 52,000 from this big wedge starts to come back into play. So those are the levels we need to look out for. That's what we need to. We look at the fear and greed index. You can see it's back at 53, which is interesting. That makes a lot of sense given the run-up we saw yesterday. We had a really big pump yesterday. If I go back to the hourly chart, you will see here, this run-up here, people enjoyed that, right? So that's naturally going to help the fear and greed index. The stock market is a bit sideways right now. We had a bit of an interestingly flat day yesterday on the Dow and the S&P, although the Nasdaq did lead with the up almost 2%. Part of that was due to a little bit of Twitter after Elon Musk joined the board and bought his 9.2% stake. Looking at the pre-market right now, we're pretty much flat again. Not too much excitement in the market today, but that's quite a good thing because we also not got too much fear. We've got to count our blessings from that perspective as well. Now, let's move on to some of the on-chain metrics. And the first thing we want to look at is to look at the exchange net position. So this is looking at your inflows and your outflows. Green represent net inflows into exchanges, money's moving into exchanges, and your red would suggest that money is moving out of exchanges. And you can see we're peaking now at levels not seen since March 2020 when we had our liquidity crisis back in 2020. So this just goes to show that a lot of money over this period has been flowing out of exchanges. In other words, people are buying and they're moving it off exchanges. If you're moving it off exchanges, that often means you are a hodler. What do hodlers do? They take it off exchanges. They don't often come back to the exchanges. They're not trading with it. They're buying and they're holding for a long term. And that is good because this is reducing the amount of supply available to move the Bitcoin price. Okay, so this is always a good metric to keep an eye out. And one person that's helping this is our good friend over at MicroStrategy. Michael Saylor buys another $200 million almost worth of Bitcoin, another 4,000 Bitcoin, taking his total to 130 roughly thousand Bitcoin, valued at around $6 billion. He continues to lead the way in space. He continues to accumulate. He continues to have conviction. And Michael is an example for all of us on any of our coins. We don't need to have the buying power that Michael does in order to take away some of the lessons that he teaches. He teaches us to have conviction, to dollar cost average, to buy, have that unwavering conviction that nobody's going to change your mind. You've done your research and it's there. You believe in it and you continue to put your money where your mouth is. Now, let's also take a look at Luna Foundation, because MicroStrategy is no longer the only one buying, because we've also got the Luna Foundation buying. And you can see here, their levels of buying continue to increase. You can see here, starting from March, after the announcements from Do Kwon, they really have been buying. They really have been putting more Bitcoins into their treasury. And you can see now that from holdings of less than 10K Bitcoin, they're now sitting at 30,700 Bitcoin, $1.4 billion. And they've still got a lot more buying to do. So this is impressive from Luna Foundation. And that is why the Luna price has been unstoppable. And a lot of you guys have been asking me, particularly in the Discord, what are my thoughts on Luna? And Luna is an amazing project. It's something we've been monitoring for a long time. I was lucky enough to buy in at early levels. You can see here all the TA we were doing on this a while back. I need to clean up my charts, as somebody nicely said in the comments the other day. They're so right. I do need to clean up my charts. But you can see this is not cooling off, right? This is a beast. Luna is a beast, and it's not waiting. Even if Bitcoin's having a down day, it's not having it. It's just creeping up at 117. And this is why I advised all my course members that if you want to build, not financial advice, but if you want to build a Luna position, this is one of those where you're going to struggle to get a meaningful pullback. So if you see a little bit of a pullback, start nibbling, right? Start nibbling and just dollar cost averaging that. Otherwise, you're going to have FOMO as this continues to keep climbing. This is one of those coins that if you weren't able to, and you didn't have the conviction to buy here, this was your opportunity. Big opportunity here, big downward trend. Bitcoin took the whole market down. You could have been buying at around $50 here. I know now a lot of people are trying to buy it at 117. Don't chase the green candles, wait for pullbacks. But at the same time, there's no promises on a project like Luna, which has so much attention right now, that they're going to have any major retracement anytime soon, because the market is getting set up for its next move. And therefore, if Luna is moving like this during the weak phases, what's it going to move like during its strong phases? So definitely a solid project. Do Kwon's done an amazing job. What they're doing in terms of building out their Bitcoin reserves, just another feather in their cap to show how solid a project is, and a very clever project at that in terms of Luna. Now, coming back to Bitcoin and looking at some of the on-chain metrics, let's put me top right, I think, out of the way. Here, this is something called Bitcoin Reserve Risk, and it's a very complicated metric used by Glassnode. You can go to the Glassnode website and kind of understand it, but very quickly, in essence, reserve risk is low when hodler conviction is high. Okay, so that means the unspent opportunity cost is increasing and price is low, and thus there's an attractive risk to reward. So in other words, when you're in this green level, okay, that is when it's more favorable to hold. Okay, high hodl, low spending. You don't want to spend. The opportunity cost is better to hold. Whereas if you're in this red bar here, that's low hodl, okay, and high spending. More chance of people selling their Bitcoins because the opportunity cost to do something else is better. And you can see here how that's worked historically. Every time you've kind of gone into this red zone, there's been selling activity. Gone into the red zone, selling activity. Red zone, selling activity. Equally, on the other side, every time we've dipped into the green, we've seen buying rallies. Look at the Bitcoin price here in black, moving nice and big after the moment we get a touch into the green level. Same here. We get deep into the green level, big rally in the Bitcoin price, taking us all the way up to over $20,000 on Bitcoin. Same here. To the upside. Same here. Move to the upside. This move took you from single-digit Bitcoins over the next 400 days all the way up to your 60,000 on Bitcoin. Big moves to the upside. And now it's been 77 days that we've been back in this green territory, which gives us a clue that maybe the market is starting to position itself in there being more of an opportunity for long-term accumulation. So that's what this is saying. Now, and you can go onto the Glassnode website, you can look at how this is calculated. Obviously, I'm lucky enough that I have a maths degree. I can understand what they're on about here. For the majority of people, all you need to know is they take two things. The reserve risk is calculated as a price, the current price of Bitcoin, divided by the hodl bank. And think of the hodl bank as just a way of understanding if it's beneficial to hodl or not hodl. What's the opportunity cost, right? Is it better for me to sell at the current price, or is it better for me to hold? What is the opportunity cost based on the pricing right now? So another metric which is suggesting that things are looking positive and things could be starting to move to the upside here on Bitcoin, okay? Now, wrapping things up, let's take a quick look at COTI as promised, because COTI is moving another 10%. Another strong day on COTI. We covered this off in yesterday's video, and you'll remember that I said the key level now is going to come at $34. We're sitting at 33, and you can see a little bit of sell pressure coming in. Let's switch across to the hourly, and you'll see exactly what I mean. This is a level we drew yesterday, and you can see some of the sell pressure starting to come in at 34, exactly as we predicted. This is going to be the key level because that is the pivot point from the downward trend. Once we break through that, then we need to work our way towards the 41 cents mark at the next pivot point, which also happens to be our 0.382 Fibonacci line. A good move here from COTI. If you're able to pick COTI up at some of the bottoms here, then you are comfortably up 100% on your COTI. This is why conviction is so important, particularly on lower cap projects. Conviction is very important, and you need to be able to buy these pullbacks when others are fearful. Okay, so good move on COTI, moving nicely to the upside. Interestingly, ADA isn't moving up too much today. It's quite a reddish market with Bitcoin struggling to decide its direction. But by the time I upload this video, that could change, right? Like I said, Bitcoin's at a key area right now. It needs to decide, is it going to break out from this descending triangle / bull flag to the upside? Can it head to 48,200 and then beyond? Worst case scenario is for us to end up back in this wedge at levels such a, breaking below 44.5. We don't want to do that. The on-chain metrics suggest we shouldn't do that, but we need to be aware of it nonetheless. So there you have it, guys. There is a blend of technicals and fundamentals here on Bitcoin. We also touched upon Luna and COTI. If you appreciate this blend, hit up the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. If you appreciate my perspective and you want to learn some more, do consider joining our course member live streams. We're going to jump on a course member live stream shortly. So do head over to ijaz.uk/member. Find out how to become a member and get access to ask me any questions on your mind in terms of crypto and investing. Thanks for watching, guys.